All right. Election season's in full swing, right? And things are getting
pretty wild.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
We've been hearing from a lot of you about a certain VP's late night appearance, and it's causing quite a stir.
Yeah. The timing of Kamala Harris's cameo on Saturday Night Live just a couple days before the election has definitely raised some eyebrows.
It's November 3rd, 2024, folks. And we're talking about a potentially nail-biter election here.
Absolutely.
When Harris showed up alongside Maya Rudolph, who does that incredible impression.
Oh, it's so good.
Got people talking.
Yeah, and it's not just the timing. FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, a Trump appointee, is claiming that this appearance actually violated the equal time rule.
Oh, wow.
He even went on X, formerly known as Twitter, to call it out.
Okay, things are heating up. So for those of us who don't speak fluent FCC, what exactly is this equal time rule, and why is everyone making such a fuss about it?
Well, in a nutshell, the equal time rule is meant to prevent broadcasters from playing favorites during elections. It basically says that if a station gives airtime to one candidate, they have to offer the same opportunity to others who are running for the same office.
So if Harris gets a few minutes on SNL, wouldn't her opponent, presumably Trump, again be entitled to the same?
Theoretically, yes. But here's where it gets really interesting. Carr actually accused the broadcast of being a clear and blatant effort to evade the FCC's equal time rule. He's arguing that this wasn't just, a harmless cameo appearance. It was a calculated move to try and give Harris an advantage.
And we should point out here that Carr is the senior Republican on the commission.
Absolutely.
So there's definitely a partisan angle to all of this.
For sure. But we shouldn't forget that other politicians have been on SNL before Clinton, Obama, even Trump himself.
Right.
So why is this time different?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Was Harris out there giving like a full campaign speech? What exactly did she DO on the show?
It was actually a short sketch. Yeah. Maya Rudolph, as Harris is looking in the mirror and sees the real Kamala Harris looking back at her. But then Harris drops a line that's clearly directed at Trump. She says, "You can do something your opponent can't do. You can open doors."
Ooh, little jab there. I'm guessing that's connected to that viral video of Trump struggling with a garbage truck door.
You got it. That video is everywhere, and this line in the sketch directly plays on that image, which is why Carr is calling foul. He's arguing this was a deliberate attempt to influence voters just a couple days before the election.
He even went on to say that the purpose of the rule is to avoid exactly this type of biased and partisan conduct, a licensed broadcaster using the public airways to exert its influence for one candidate on the eve of an election.
Right. He's basically saying that SNL, by giving Harris this platform and allowing her to kind of take this dig at Trump, is using its influence to try and sway the election.
Wow. Strong words. But has the FCC itself actually weighed in on this? Is SNL in any real trouble?
Not yet. The FCC hasn't made a formal ruling, and they haven't even received a formal complaint. An FCC spokesperson told The Hill that they haven't made any determinations yet regarding political programming rules.
Okay, so no one's panicking just yet. But this has to be making some waves behind the scenes, right?
Oh, absolutely. Lorne Michaels, SNL's executive producer, said earlier this year that neither presidential candidate would be on the show because of the equal time rule.
Right.
He was specifically worried about potential legal issues.
He was even quoted as saying, "You can't bring the actual people who are running on because of election laws and the equal time provisions. You can't have the main candidates without having all the candidates." But this situation kind of throws a wrench into that plan.
Right. And that's why this seemingly minor SNL appearance is kind of blown up into this much bigger story. It really touches on some really fundamental questions about the role of media in elections, the power of satire, and whether our system is really even equipped to handle these kinds of situations.
This is getting juicy. We've got a potential equal time violation tie-though. Partisan politics and late night comedy all rolled into one. Where do we even go from here?
Well, the million-dollar question is, what happens next? Does this set a precedent for future campaigns?
Right.
Will other candidates start demanding equal time on comedy shows?
And perhaps most importantly, could this actually impact the election results?
It's certainly possible. Remember, we're talking about a very close race here, and even small events can have a ripple effect. So buckle up, because this deep dive is just getting started. This whole situation, it really underscores how blurry the lines have become. between news and entertainment and political campaigning.
It's true. It used to be that you got your news from, the news and your entertainment from shows like SNL.
Right.
Now it all just feels so mixed up.
And that makes it even harder for voters to know what to believe or even who to trust.
And then you add in the power of social media.
Oh, yeah.
Where a clip from SNL can go viral in minutes and reach millions of people.
Millions.
You've got a recipe for potential chaos.
Absolutely. Like a perfect storm.
Yeah. So let's play this out a bit. What are the potential consequences if the FCC actually decides that this appearance did violate the equal time rule?
Well, that's where things could get really messy. There's no clear precedent for a situation like this.
So we're in uncharted territory.
In a way, yes. The equal time rule was designed for a different era, mainly for traditional radio and television broadcasts.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to apply it to a late-night comedy show in the age of streaming and social media gets a little tricky.
So what could actually happen to SNL? Would they get fined? Could they lose their broadcasting license?
It's unlikely they would face anything that drastic.
Okay.
The FCC could issue a warning, maybe impose a relatively small fine, but I think the real impact could be the chilling effect it has on future programming.
Chilling effect. What do you mean by that?
Well, imagine you're Lorne Michaels, the head of SNL. After all of this, would you really be eager to invite any political figures onto the show?
Probably not.
Even if they're just there for, a quick joke.
Yeah, no. It wouldn't be worth the headache and all the potential legal battles.
Exactly. And that's the concern. This whole controversy could make networks and producers much more cautious.
Right.
Which could stifle political satire and limit opportunities for, just open dialogue.
That would be a real shame because satire has always played an important role in holding those in power accountable.
Absolutely. It's a vital part of a healthy democracy. Think about shows like The Daily Show or Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Oh, yeah.
They use humor to tackle some really serious issues and often reach audiences who might not otherwise tune in to political news.
It's true. I get a lot of my news from those shows.
Right.
They make it so much more digestible and, I don't know, dare I say, entertaining.
Yeah, and they can be surprisingly informative too. They do their research and they often present complex issues in a way that's both engaging and thought-provoking.
So by cracking down on something like Harris's SNL appearance, the FCC could inadvertently be silencing these important voices in our political discourse.
That's the risk. And it raises the question, where do we draw the line? How do we balance the need for fairness in broadcasting with the right to free speech and the importance of satire?
These are some tough questions with no easy answers.
Right.
But I think it's important to have these conversations and just grapple with these issues, especially as we head into this crucial election.
Absolutely. We need to be aware of the potential consequences of our actions, both intended and unintended.
Yeah.
And we need to think critically about the role of media satire and even just humor in shaping our political landscape.
This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. It's not just about a funny skit on SNL anymore. It's about the very fabric of our democracy and how we navigate these complex issues in the digital age.
Well said. And remember, this controversy is still unfolding. The FCC hasn't made a final decision, and there are sure to be more twists and turns along the way.
So what should we be watching for as this story develops? What are some key indicators that things might be heading in a particular direction?
Well, one thing to keep an eye on is whether or not any other candidates formally complained to the FCC about Harris's appearance.
Okay.
If they do, that could put a lot more pressure on the commission to act.
What about SNL themselves? Do you think they'll address this controversy directly? Or will they just try to sweep it under the rug?
That's a really good question. They might make a joke about it on Weekend Update.
Right.
Or Lorne Michaels could issue a statement defending the decision to have Harris on the show.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how they choose to handle the situation.
It is fascinating how this seemingly minor event has just blown up into this major debate.
Yeah.
It really is a microcosm of so many of the challenges that are facing our political system right now.
It really is. And it underscores the importance of just being informed, engaged citizens who are able to think critically about the information that we're consuming and the choices that we're making.
Well said. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener, and I have a feeling we're not done yet. There's still so much more to explore.
Indeed. There are always more layers to peel back and deeper truths to uncover.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So until next time, stay curious and keep asking questions. Okay, we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into this whole Kamala Harris SNL thing.
And remember, this isn't just about SNL.
Right, this is about way more than just her appearance on the show.
Exactly. We've been talking about those blurred lines, between news entertainment and political campaigning,
Right.
that outsized influence of social media, and this increasingly polarized political climate that we're all living in.
It can feel a little overwhelming, if I'm being honest.
It can, but I think it's important to remember that we're not powerless.
Okay.
We as citizens, we have a role to play in all of this.
I like where you're going with this. So what can we actually do? What are some practical steps that we can take to navigate this media landscape and make informed decisions?
Well, I think first and foremost, we need to become more discerning consumers of information.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty tall order in today's world.
It is, but it's essential. Think of it like developing a healthy skepticism.
A healthy skepticism. So
Yeah.
not just dismissing everything we see and hear, but also not just blindly accepting it either.
Exactly. It's about questioning everything.
Oh,
Asking, who made this? What's their agenda? What information might be missing here?
Okay, that makes sense. So we need to be more critical of all this information we're bombarded with every single day. But how do we actually do that?
One really practical tip is to diversify your news sources.
Okay.
Don't just rely on one website or one news channel. Seek out different perspectives, even ones that you might not initially agree with.
So step out of our echo chambers and expose ourselves to a wider range of viewpoints.
Exactly. That way you're less likely to be swayed by, one-sided narratives or fall prey to misinformation.
That's a good point. It's so easy to get trapped in those filter bubbles online where we're only seeing things that confirm our existing beliefs.
And those bubbles are often reinforced by social media algorithms, which can amplify the most extreme or sensational content.
Yeah, it's like those algorithms are almost designed to keep us outraged and engaged,
Right.
clicking and sharing without really thinking critically.
It's a real concern. But we can actually fight back by being mindful of how those algorithms work
Okay.
and consciously seeking out more diverse perspectives.
So it's about taking control of our own information diets, so to speak.
Exactly. And another key step, I think, is to be aware of the power of humor and satire.
Wait, hold on. We started this whole conversation because of a joke on SNL. How can humor be part of the solution here?
Well, think about it. Humor can be incredibly powerful. It can disarm us, make us laugh, and help us see things from a new perspective.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced that. Sometimes a well-timed joke or a satirical take on a serious issue can help me process things in a way that just like a straight news report can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Humor can make complex issues more accessible and help us connect with them on an emotional level.
But humor can also be used to manipulate or spread misinformation, right?
Absolutely. That's why it's so important to be discerning about the humor that we consume. Just like with news sources, we need to be aware of the potential biases and agendas behind the jokes.
So it's not about dismissing humor altogether, but being more thoughtful about the humor we choose to engage with.
Precisely. And, humor can also be a form of resistance.
Oh, interesting.
It can give voice to those who feel marginalized and challenge those in power.
Think about all the comedians who use their platforms to speak truth to power. They can often say things that journalists or politicians just can't.
Exactly. So while we do need to be critical of humor, we should also celebrate its potential to, spark conversations, challenge assumptions, and even inspire change.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools to navigate this media landscape.
That's what we hope for with these deep dives, to give you the knowledge and insights you need to really make sense of the world.
So as we head into this election and beyond, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing is to just stay curious.
Yeah.
Keep asking questions, challenge those assumptions, and don't be afraid to engage in, respectful dialogue, even with those who hold different views.
Well said. And remember, your voice matters. Stay informed, stay engaged, and most importantly, don't forget to vote.
Absolutely. Every vote counts.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.